This is Diona's Flower Shop. This is a game where you really need to find a bouquet of flowers or something important tomorrow. However, you left work a bit too late and everything's closed, but strangely, one flower shop is still open very late at night. Let's get started. I'm scared. You're in search of the perfect bouquet of flowers for a special event. In a hurry, I bolted out of my workplace and lifted my wrist to check the time. Shit. I had a feeling I'd be working overtime again tonight, but I didn't expect leaving work this late. My plan was to leave a little earlier tonight to spare some time browsing for flowers to buy. But now, it's 11:15 p.m. already. No shop must still be open at this hour. As I walk, the night envelops the streets in darkness and quietness. Yeah, I was right. I noticed that most shops are closed now. A hint of disappointment creeps in. I realize I won't have the chance to buy what I needed for tomorrow. If only I had thrown caution to the wind and left earlier. Now, I'm not so sure about tomorrow. Well, it's not like getting a flower bouquet for the occasion is that necessary after all, but I still think it'd be a good idea to do. It's just, showing up with a bouquet in hand would show the effort I put in, right? At least that's what I think. I began to walk slowly, realizing there's no point in hurrying anymore, since I might just go through tomorrow without a flower bouquet. Yet, just as I was about to completely give up on the idea, something caught my attention, and I came to an abrupt stop. Diona's Flower Shop. Despite the late hour, the entrance to the shop still displayed a riot of blossoms. It was a little strange to see, but its beauty draws me in like a moth to a flame. Either the florist is incredibly talented, or the shop simply has unusual working hours. But that doesn't matter now. This means I have a chance to buy flowers. Eager, I hastened my steps towards the shop and enter. The door chimed with a soft ring as it swung open, announcing my arrival. The interior of the flower shop exudes delicate beauty, with its simple yet elegant decor that consists of soft and muted colors. The blossoms, neatly displayed in glass vases, cast elongated shadows in the dim lighting. As I wandered through the flower shop, I could smell the scent of the usual fragrant floral notes in the air. But I also began to notice something else. Something unsettling, far from usual pleasantness. A faint, discordant odor that mingles with the flowery scent. Are all the flowers covering the smell of a body? A scent different from what I'd expect in a flower shop, but I couldn't quite place its origin either. I quickly dismissed it and chose to focus on the flower shop's exquisite arrangements instead. As if ignoring the scent will make it vanish somehow, I began observing the floral displays, my eyes drifting over them. Some bouquets were pre-arranged, while others featured individual stems waiting to be selected. Taking a closer look, the late hour seems to have taken its toll on a few, leaving them with a slight wilt. Nonetheless, I feel grateful that this flower shop is still open at this hour. On the opposite side of the shop, a particular bouquet of sunflowers immediately captures my attention. They stood out with their vibrant freshness in stark contrast to the others. Wow! I whispered to myself, reaching out to gently touch the golden petals, a soft smile gracing my lips. This one's still quite fresh. Surprisingly, maybe I should get this one. I muse again, hesitating. Yeah, I think I should look around first. Turning away from the sunflowers, I stroll further into the shop, admiring the colorful array of blooms and pondering my choice. It wasn't until I stole a glance at the counter that I realized the shop was deserted. Where's the florist? Check the staff door. I hesitate for a moment, pondering whether it might be a bit excessive. But in the end, curiosity got the better of me. After all, someone could be inside, right? I mean, who in their right mind would leave their own shop unattended at this hour? It's kinda dangerous. After a brief internal debate, I make my way to the back of the counter, intending to knock on the staff door. I notice that odd out-of-place scent from earlier seems to be coming from behind this door. I apologize, but only staff members are allowed to enter. Whoa, I just realized, this man's got a rack. I was taken aback by the sudden presence of a man with pink hair emerging from the staff door. Oh, sorry. I took a step back immediately, feeling a little flustered. No, you're quite alright. The man's lips curled upwards into a smile that appeared warm to me, and he took a step back, maintaining a professional distance. I apologize for making you wait. I was tending to something in the other room and didn't notice someone had entered the shop. Welcome to Diona's Flower Shop. I'm the florist in charge. How can I assist you? Yes, I'm here to buy some flowers for a special occasion. The man nodded and his smile broadens. Of course. What's the occasion, and what type of flowers are you interested in? Wow, you're hot. Pardon? Why the heck did I blurt that out? I feel utterly awkward. I try to form a reply, but my thoughts are scrambled, leaving me tongue-tied with nonsensical sounds. Why, I appreciate that. The florist gave a slight smile in reply, his voice hardly shifting. That only adds to my embarrassment. I cringe inwardly, wondering how I could have said something like that earlier. In any case, is there any type of flower you're interested in buying? Not really, nothing comes to mind yet. That's perfectly fine. If you like, I can show you a flower language book. It's a way to choose flowers based on their meanings and symbolism. Thank you, I'd really appreciate that. The florist swiftly retrieved the flower language book from the cabinet and handed it to me, and I took it with a nod and a small smile. Thank you. I trailed behind the florist, observing as he elegantly halted his steps and began crafting a floral arrangement at a nearby table. Despite trying to focus on the task at hand, my mind kept replaying the awkward moment I blurted out that thoughtless comment. Please browse at your leisure. I have to return to another arrangement for a client, so whenever you made your choice, please let me know. Thank you so much. I'll definitely let you know. Trying to distract myself, I gazed at the beautiful assortment of flowers before me. While I was browsing, the florist was deep in concentration in his arrangement work. I began flipping through the pages of the flower language book, scanning the meanings and symbolism behind various blooms. Marigolds and red roses caught my attention. Marigolds, often associated with passion and creativity, seemed like a vibrant choice. On the other hand, red roses conveyed messages of love and admiration. I don't know which one to decide. After a moment of contemplation, I turned my attention towards the florist. With the shears in hand, he snipped the stems just at the right angle, the metallic blades glinting slightly in the flower shop's dim lighting. Their edges appear really sharp and maintained. I don't want to bother him, but I also need to ask for his help in deciding. Excuse me? Yes? He paused his movements, anticipating my next words with a small smile on his face. I can't decide between marigolds or red roses. A tough decision indeed. Both choices are beautiful. Perhaps you can opt for the red roses. As much as I'd like to offer you both, I can't sell flowers that aren't in their best condition. As you may have noticed, a couple of them have started to wilt. I apologize for that. It's because I usually select the flowers during the day, and they don't remain fresh until late. I nodded in understanding, acknowledging the truth in his explanation. No worries, I completely understand. Flowers tend to deteriorate quickly once they're picked. I'm relieved you know so. It's indeed unfortunate that their beauty won't last very long. I often wish that more individuals embraced nurturing flowers, but it appears many lean towards purchasing them solely for decoration. People prefer to opt for the pre-arranged, hand-picked, and cleaned options. Well, at least I'm glad to see someone as charming as you is taking care of these beautiful flowers. His lips curve into a small smile, his eyes meeting mine briefly before his focus returns to his work. Thank you for your kind words. It's an honor. Flowers are really beautiful and delicate, thus, I want to be able to enhance each flower's beauty by arranging them harmoniously. Well, I think you're already doing a good job at it. Was there a specific reason behind your choice to become a florist? He appears to truly enjoy his work. My love for flowers has been a lifelong affair. Even as a child, I was captivated by their beauty and grace. But it was when I met my wife that my passion for flowers intensified greatly. He has a wife? No! Well, I can't flirt with him anymore, that's just wrong. His voice took on a noticeable change of tone as he spoke of his wife. Your wife must hold a special place in your heart. With each nod, his smile seemed to grow wider, making it clear that he absolutely is smitten with the topic of his wife. She is, and I'm thankful to be in her presence every single day. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were married. So, would you choose the selection of red roses? Oh, right. I was caught up in the conversation. Yes, but some marigolds in it would be great too. I don't mind if it's a little wilted. Oh, what a thoughtful gesture. It's a delight to find someone who treasures flowers as deeply as I do. He set aside the arrangement for another client he tied the ribbon around as a finishing touch. If I may ask, what's the occasion? It's my friend's birthday. Well, it's my friend's birthday today, and I want to surprise them with a beautiful bouquet. Ah, how lovely. Flowers can convey emotions beautifully indeed. Okay, I'll begin preparing them for you. Thank you so much. I nod softly, smiling at his words and remaining quiet to let him focus on his work. Amidst his work, he suddenly paused, setting aside the shears and fixing his gaze on me. Excuse me for a moment. I need to retrieve something from the other room. The florist smiled politely and left the counter. After a short absence, he returned carrying a small wooden box filled with decorative satin ribbons and a handful of white lilies. Thank you for your patience. No problem at all. He continued with his work and thoughtfully dispersed the white petals throughout the bouquet, like pearls adorning a royal robe. But white lilies mean death. That's something I know. Ah, I apologize again. I just remember I missed something. How forgetful of me. I'll be right back. Just one more thing to fetch. This is weird. He disappeared into the staff room once more. Take your time. Just like this, the florist would frequently step away to the staff room in the midst of his work. Sometimes he returned with new equipment and fresh blooms, while other times he reappeared with no apparent changes. Each time he opened the staff door, the peculiar smell grew more potent. Soon enough, the florist returned again with a roll of decorative paper. Thank you for waiting. No problem. Even though the door is closed now, his earlier trips to the staff room left a lingering scent in the shop. I instinctively scrunch up my nose at the unpleasant odor. I think it's the smell from earlier. I'm gonna ignore the smell, I'm scared. Despite my intrigue, I decide to push the unusual scent to the back of my mind. As much as the aroma tugged on my curiosity, something tells me that it's probably best if I don't question it. While he placed each petal with precision, I suddenly hear loud crashing noises coming from another room. Oh god! For the first time since I walked into the flower shop, I see genuine shock on the florist's face. What was that? Sounds like someone tripped over something. I apologize. I must go and take a look. Please excuse me for a moment. Okay. He looks genuinely concerned as he rushes towards the staff room, leaving me standing there. And of course, as he opened the door, that scent lingers in the air again. It makes me question what's really behind the closed door. And if it's the scent of flowers, I wonder what kind of flower could possibly emit such a foul scent. I guess the corpse bloom could do that, right? After what feels like an eternity, the florist finally returns. The worry that was visible on his face earlier has dissipated, and now he wears a faint smile. Is everything okay back there? It seemed my wife accidentally knocked over some gardening tools of mine. Nothing to worry about. She's just a little clumsy at times. He chuckled softly and swiftly picked up the flowers again, resuming the arrangement. I see. I stood still, patiently awaiting the flower arrangement to be done. Yet while I was looking around the table, I noticed a stain of blood at the end of the counter. Wait, what? What? Exactly, the spot where the florist just touched. The florist seems to have been aware of me spotting the blood stain. Has something else caught your attention? Oh, it's nothing really. I was just spacing out for a moment. His eyes, a deep shade of crimson, bore into me for a moment longer, as though he's seeking something in my expression, before he eventually broke the silence. I see. Well, if you have any questions about the flowers, feel free to ask. The florist's intense gaze makes me wonder if he saw through my attempt to hide my unease. Quietly, I observe his fingers in motion. With every addition, the florist paused, his discerning eyes ensuring each flower found its perfect place in the arrangement. Not long after, he looks my way. I apologize for making you wait. I'm almost done with the arrangement. Would you like to include a card with the bouquet? Normally, there's an additional charge, but since you're buying our last batch of flowers, I'll include it at no extra cost. For free. The florist nodded, smiling. I don't want a card, I want you instead. With a small laugh, he shook his head, the florist's eye betraying the absence of a genuine smile. Your flirtatious behavior, as tedious as it is, reminds me of a time when my wife and I would share light-hearted moments, but I'm afraid this situation isn't one of them. Sighing softly, he returned to wearing a wider smile. I'll be giving you the card then. What would you like me to write on it? Wow, he's blatantly ignoring me. I told the florist what I wanted him to write, word by word as he wrote them down. Once the flowers are perfectly arranged, he carefully wrapped the bouquet with decorative paper, the colors and patterns complementing the flowers within. He tied a satin ribbon around the bouquet as he completed the masterpiece before handing me the bouquet. Thank you. Is this good enough for you? I inspected the bouquet of flowers that he arranged, adorned with a small card attached to the ribbon. Oh, he has very pretty handwriting, and the arrangement looks just as beautiful. It's beautiful. I held onto the bouquet tighter, looking up at the florist. Thank you so much. I'm glad you think so. Do you want to purchase something else before leaving, or is this all? Yes, but now I'm curious about something else. About what, if I may ask? About the handsome man behind the arrangement. You, pardon? He looks genuinely surprised at my question, clearly from how his eyes slightly widened. The florist fell silent for a moment, seemingly thinking for an answer, or at a loss for words. He sets down the scissors he was holding, walking over to the counter to take a step closer to me. What exactly would you like to know about me then? He suddenly turned around and our eyes met. Though before that, if I may say something, what leads you to talk with me like this, given my marital status? I'm sorry, I'm filming a video. It's for entertainment's sake. Normally I would abhor this kind of thing. I'm aware of that status, handsome. No. Yet you choose not to care. Oh no! Wait, alright, you need to do it for the YouTube video. This does not reflect my morals. Yeah? And what if I don't care? Your personal life isn't my concern. His subdued laugh held both humor and an underlying, more complex emotion. Ah. His eyes met mine with a little more intensity this time. I am perhaps one of those people who find some sort of thrill in doing this. I decide to remain silent, both because I'm not entirely sure on what I should say in return, and also the fact that it seems like he was going to say something more. You're not the first to do this. Leaning against the counter, he crosses his arms and tilts his head slightly to the side, never breaking eye contact. After all, it was nice how they honored me with their bodies in the end. Wait, what? His words took me slightly aback. His never faltering eye contact didn't help in making me less nervous. Cat got your tongue? Don't clam up now. You were doing so well. That's why. I suppose I should give your persistence a small reward. To tell you the truth, my wife had a way of making ordinary mundane moments exhilarating, much like the way our current conversation seems to be turning. A grin spreads across his face as he spoke, his gaze never wandering from mine. Following that, the florist turned and headed to the opposite side of the counter where he began tidying up. You're quite the curious one, aren't you? It's almost like you have no sense of another person's boundaries. Sorry. Well, I have to admit my curiosity might be a bit biased. I think I'm just drawn to you. He continued arranging items, his fingers briefly touching an old photograph resting nearby. I'm flattered. Though, I'm afraid I don't quite get what you're trying to get from the question. He carefully clears the dust from the photograph, revealing a picture of a sunflower garden. After a moment, he placed the photograph back to where it was and finally turned to look at me. Should I be wary of being in the presence of a detective? You're asking quite a handful of questions. Sorry, I should probably tone down my curiosity. The florist's chuckle slowly turned into a warm smile. No, it's not every day I have someone to show such genuine curiosity. Well, yeah, your passion for flowers and the bond you share with your wife, they seem to hold a depth that goes beyond the surface. His gaze became reflective before he nods in agreement. You're perceptive. His chuckle dwindles as he refocuses on organizing. You know, watching you work with flowers earlier was really alluring to me. You're quite the flattering one. I wonder if you're like this with every stranger you meet. Or is it just me? He chuckled again, this time a little more shallow as he shook his head. You remind me of a self-proclaimed detective that once came to visit me in hopes of satiating their curiosity. Needless to say, I had no secrets to tell, so they left with nothing. Is that so? Well, I'll be sure to remember that. Ah. Not another detective with good memory? That could be dangerous. His words were light-hearted this time, and a somewhat playful smile graced his lips. I am no detective, I just find myself drawn to you. Is that so? His eyes held a mischievous glint as he leans in even closer. Yes, you're quite intriguing. He trailed his fingers lightly along the edge of the counter, his eyes never leaving mine. In that case, perhaps I should consider revealing a thing or two. The air between us seems to change as our conversation continues. What's with the sudden change of behavior? I took one step back as he stepped forward towards me. You must be thinking, what's with the sudden change of behavior? Uh, well, yeah, I was wondering about exactly that. What about all the talk about how much you love your wife up until now? Letting out a shallow chuckle, he shook his head before speaking in a quieter voice. Tell love is to share, don't you think? Sometimes new flowers grow even when we think we've already found our favorite. He sighed, his eyes never leaving mine. Dude! But enough about me. Let's focus on you for a moment. Me? I blink in surprise, taken aback by the sudden redirection of the conversation. I've been persistent for sure, no doubt about it, but this sudden change really took me aback. Yes, you. What really brings you to my flower shop today? Oh, I just saw the beautiful flowers in the window and decided to come in. I mean, I also needed the bouquet. I needed a good bouquet, plus this is the only flower shop that's still open, so... His pair of crimson eyes sparked with a playful glint. Well, you have a good eye. Thank you. Though if I may assume, it does seem like you had a change of mind sometime during the time you spent looking around in my shop. You did mention wanting to buy a bouquet for your friend's birthday earlier. I admire your initial urge to go out of your way to buy a flower bouquet this late at night. It really is a thoughtful gesture. Most friends would have easily went home and slept, especially after a long day of work. But you didn't do that. You chose to come here. His words trail off, becoming quieter, and I could feel myself getting increasingly nervous by each word spoken from him. Even though in the end your desires got the better of you. The florist stepped away momentarily, picking up a delicate white lily before holding it out to me. Look at this. White lily, a symbol of purity, just like the intentions that initially led you to my shop. Is it wrong that I find you attractive though? The florist chuckled a bit before setting down the lily. I won't answer that for you. His gaze held mine for a moment longer than necessary, making me feel nervous. Are you finally reciprocating my interest in you? Is that even a question? His voice dropped to a lower, almost intimate tone. Let's not keep talking about me. We should continue our conversation somewhere else. My place is right below this floor. Well, I didn't realize that he actually lives in the same building. Though my nerves are on edge, I nod in compliance with his offer. Follow me then. Hey, this looks really sus. With a gesture, he opens the staff room door. I could smell the sickening scent from earlier again the moment I stepped inside. I paused a moment to regain my composure, debating should I continue to delve deeper or not. The florist notices this and turns around to face me. What's wrong? No, I'm fine. He smiled at my words and turned around again, continuing to walk down in silence. As he walks me down the stairs, my steps match the rhythm of my racing heart. My attention was drawn to a closed door marked staff only, and the scent of fresh blooms wafted from the other side. But the floral scent still mingled with the same unsettling aroma that haunted my senses earlier. Wait, so the door behind the counter leads to these stairs? It doesn't directly take us to the stock room. The florist stopped in his steps and opened the door, allowing me to step inside first. Why does it look like this? Hmm? Wait, hang on. I don't know what this room is, but it's dimly lit. This is where we can continue our conversation. I nodded, a mix of anticipation and uncertainty bubbling within me. So, what has piqued your curiosity? You've shown quite the interest in me, but what is it that you really want to know? He slightly leans forward, his eyes lock onto mine with an intensity that's difficult to ignore. Or perhaps I should ask, what is it that you desire from me? From all of this? My throat tightens as I swallow, feeling the florist's gaze like a physical touch. You know your answer. You've led yourself to this place, you see. I remain silent for a moment, not knowing what to say. Yeah, I want you. He chuckles softly, his eyes never leaving mine. You're quite the bold one. You see, I am fascinated by the intricacies of human nature. Our desires drive us, mold us. Though, it's not just any desire that captures my attention. He took another step closer. It's the desires that lie hidden beneath the surface, the ones that make our heart race, our thoughts spiral, ones that drive us to irrational decisions, ones that you seem to be experiencing this very moment. His fingers trail lightly along the edge of the table as his voice turns softer. The desires that we bury deep within us. The truth in his words make my heart beat faster. And what do you do with those desires? He leaned in, even closer, his voice a velvety whisper in my ear. I cultivate them, nurture them, just like the flowers in my garden. And when the time is right, I let them bloom in all their glory. This sounds bad. I should get out of here. And now I believe I kept to myself for far too long. He swiftly leans back, now a small frown on his face. You see, my wife was born in unique circumstances. I love her dearly, but no man can escape their human desires, can they? He paused, his eyes searching mine, as if debating whether to reveal something. I'm truly ashamed to admit this, but sometimes, due to that very reason, I find myself feeling a little lonely. That's why. Let's take a step towards understanding each other better, shall we? His smile was accompanied by a tender caress on my arm. Fumito is my name. Fumito. Our eyes met, and now I could see a hint of vulnerability in his expression. Now that I've told you my name, why don't we continue our conversation in a more intimate setting? Intimate? Each of his spoken words made me increasingly more nervous. Yes, I have a proposition, given this is my area of work. Why not let me lead you to a different space? Somewhere else, like the bedroom? He was taken aback by my words for a moment, but quickly regains his composure. My, how bold of you. Or I suppose I should say, eager. My cheeks warmed up at his words, embarrassed by whatever he's implying. I understand. Don't worry. He was quick to silence me and put a finger to my lips to prevent me from speaking. The florist chuckled softly before he leaned back again, holding his gaze with me. I'll lead the way. I'm scared. I think I'm gonna die. Though, but if we're talking in the bedroom, I do have a small request. Suddenly his slender fingers move towards me, and before I know it, a soft fabric is draped over my eyes. What's this? My words catch in my throat as I instinctively reach for the fabric. Shh. His touch on my wrist was gentle but firm. If we're going to talk more intimately, this is simply part of the thrill. I felt a mixture of excitement and unease as the fabric cut off my vision, plunging me into darkness. Fumito's voice was distant, as if he was guiding me through the shop. I trusted his lead, a sense of anticipation building within me, before finally he came to a stop. Where are we? Diona. What? He called out a name, showing no acknowledgement of my question. I'll see you soon, my sunshine. Just a little more. Fumito stepped closer in my direction. As he reached for my face and removed the cloth from my eyes, I'm scared. Oh God, okay. As the world came back into focus, I found myself in a dimly lit room with cold tiled floors. A strong metallic scent of blood permeated the air, accompanied by an unsettling mix of decay and floral tones. Tall wooden shelves lined the walls, displaying an array of equipment and tools, their surfaces marred with ominous red stains. I told you it was a small request. Is your body ready? No? Ready for what? My heart pounds in my chest as I try to make sense of the situation. What? I said, is your body ready? What for? Please cooperate. But what? In a flash, he had my arms yanked behind my back, securing them tightly, with what felt like rough twine. I immediately struggled against his hold, but was futile. With an eerie calmness, Fumito dragged me to a nearby table before I could even react. Its surface was sticky with a strange moist sensation between my fingers. It felt gross, slightly wet, and I recoiled as my skin came into contact with it. His face was devoid of emotion as he secured my arms and legs to the table. Something about the way he handled this tells me he had done such things before. His actions are unnervingly precise. What are you doing? Once he tightened the last knot, Fumito stepped back and looked down at me, his cold crimson eyes boring into mine. Just keeping my promise. I'm a man of my word. He maintained his unsettling composure while I squirmed against my bonds. You wanted to honor me with your body, didn't you? You gave in to your desires without a second thought. Fully aware of my marital status, yet you still gave in. It's a weakness many seem to share. My heart raced, and I tried to muster a response, but the words caught in my throat. He reached for something on the nearby table, and the metallic clink of tools echoed through the dimly lit room. Do you even have a purpose in this? He seems to be slightly taken aback by my protest. I'm simply trying to provide for my beloved wife. Oh god, what's going on? No, I'm scared. Fumito suddenly climbed on the table and loomed on top of me. It's now clear that he's holding a piece of cloth in his hand. He looked down at me, his voice dripping with mockery and thinly veiled disgust. You're so shameless, aren't you? Always succumbing to your desires, never thinking of the consequences. He suddenly slaps my cheek, the sound resonating in the room. Just like an animal. I could sense a deep-seated disgust in his eyes, as if he loathed not only me but the very nature of humanity itself. It's getting late now. I can't waste any more time. My wife is waiting for me. I'll make sure this ends quickly. You'll soon forget those desires that led you here, and any shame that comes with it, if you're even capable of that. Though I doubt you can. My vision began to blur as he pressed the cloth against my face, soaked in something sweet-smelling. I wanted to respond, to defy him, but the room seemed to grow darker, my eyelids heavy. Just close your eyes. I couldn't shake the feeling that the florist's disgust lingered, even as I drifted into unconsciousness. Oh god, what the fuck? What the hell happened? Why does he look like that? To put up and act like that was disgusting. No, I am in no way cheating. My sunshine. Things go... Even though... Despise him... Oh, we're missing bits of the sentence. Father's teachings are effective. My senses slowly return, and I find myself in the same dimly lit room. Fumito's oddly affectionate tone of speaking filled the air, but I couldn't quite grasp what he was saying properly. His voice sounded close, as if he were right beside me, but just out of my field of vision. My head feels hazy. I tried to move, but I couldn't feel my limbs. I realized something was very wrong. My arms and legs were unresponsive, as if they weren't even there. Oh no! Oh no! Yes, but he was delicious, wasn't he, my dear? Wait, what? Flora's voice trailed off as our eyes met, realizing that I had awakened. Or at least that's what I think. It's hard to see properly. No. I can't have you awake for this. I attempted to turn my head and focus, to see where I was and what happened to me. But Fumito's presence loomed closer. His hand pressed against my forehead, stopping me. His touch felt strange. A little damp, with the metallic scent hinting at the blood on his fingers. My attempts to speak or struggle were feeble, my body unwilling to respond. I tried to speak and ask what was happening, but my words came out as a garbled murmur. My heart raced, and I fought to regain control over my body. Don't fight it, please. The sweet sickly scent enveloped me once more, and my vision quickly wavered. What a delectable offering you are. My wife's dinner tonight will be memorable. The last thing I heard was the florist's voice, distant and cold, tinged with a subtle disgust. Thank you for your contribution. Aww. Ending. Yellow carnation. God damn it. In dalliance with words that wove a trance, one stumbled upon a perilous dance, an illusory garden where charm was a cautionary tale for all to see. A reckless fascination, wasn't it? Remember, not every connection is worth pursuing. That's what I get for being a big slut. Alright, let's try and get the other endings. Alright, this time we flirted with him, and now we're just gonna try and leave. Yes, that's all. I should get going. How much is this? Then everything will be... whatever that is. Okay. With a hushed sigh, I took out my wallet and offered him the payment for his service. He took the money and swiftly processed the payment. Here's the change. I gave a nod and extended my hand to accept the change. Thank you, and also for the arrangement. I pick up the bouquet from the counter, turning around to walk towards the door. Uh-oh. But then the florist catches my wrist and prevents me from leaving. You forgot to pay. He stood uncomfortably close to me, and despite the softness of his voice, it carried a sinister undertone. What? I paid just now. You even processed it yourself. I retorted with a quiver in my voice. His grip on my wrist felt excessively strong. The florist shook his head at my words. I am afraid that's not enough. What? Are you serious? Am I being scammed right now? I should have known better than to go out of my way to step into a totally not suspicious flower shop that's apparently still open past 11 at night. He shook his head once again. It's not about the bouquet. You did pay for that one, of course. But it's about my time. You needlessly prolonged our interaction. You wasted my time. No, I didn't. I'm asking you to pay for my wasted time. I was supposed to have quality time with her after work, alas. Without delay, he withdrew his gardening shears from his back pocket. But what? I try and budge him free from his grip. I'm sorry, I'll leave now. I won't bother you again. With a composed expression and an unflinching tone, the florist inched the glistening shears closer to me. Admittedly, I have a hard time trusting a human's word. Given the ability to speak and form cohesive words, I've learned that some of them can be deceitful. Before I could say anything else, I suddenly felt a sting on the side of my torso, making me lose my balance. The florist's shears got me. Oh my god. Okay. Oh no. My wife would hate to know that someone as disgusting as you had stepped into our shop. Well, if I leave you be, she wouldn't like that. In agony, I curled up into a ball on the ground. The florist took another few steps closer to me, stabbing me for the second time. Ugh. I shriek in pain, coughing up blood at the same time. Through all this, the florist just stared at me with emotionless eyes, holding up my wrist before dragging me. The least you can do to pay is to honor us with your body. I want to fight, but there's no energy left within me. Ugh, the pain is too much for me. My breath slowly becomes ragged, and I find it hard to keep my eyes focused. As my vision starts to blur, I could vaguely see him opening up the staff door, dragging me further inside. My nostrils met the same sickening scent from before, making me want to gag. As he drags my body down the stairs, I could hear soft noises of what sounds like a growl. My sunshine! I'm not sure if my ear's playing tricks on me, but I feel that's the most emotion I could hear from the florist's voice so far. Is he calling for his wife? I got, yes. Oh, you're such a sweetheart. Did you wait for long? Give me a kiss. Is he crazy or something? He just stabbed me and now he's being all lovey-dovey with his wife. But wait, I could use this chance to escape when he's distracted by his wife. Almost as if on cue, he hoisted me up like a slab of meat and slammed me down onto a hard surface. The surface was sticky with a strange moist sensation beneath my fingers. Cruel efficiency. He raised my head slightly and forcefully shoved a piece of cloth into my mouth. The florist moved with such an unsettling calmness, his gloved hands were cold against my skin. Ropes quickly ensnared my limbs, securing my legs and arms tightly. I attempted to scream and kick, fueled by the last reserves of my energy, but everything emerged as muffled, desperate sounds. It hurts, it fucking hurts. Is he gonna dismember me alive or something? And if so, for what? My wife would surely enjoy this. A favorite part of one's body. I shall harvest it. What? Oh no. This time he takes from you without being when you're not unconscious. My body twitched and convulsed in pain as I let out even more muffled screams from the agonizing pain. Before long, I eventually start to lose consciousness. Thank you for your contribution. The florist's cold, distant voice was the last thing I heard as I drew my last breath. Good God! Okay. That's a yellow carnation variant. Have you learned your lesson now about not wasting anyone's time? After all, time is money to some. Good God, okay. Alright, let's get the other ones. This time, I'm not gonna flirt with him at all, and we'll see what happens. Alright, let me ask about his wife this time. He looks genuinely surprised at my question, clearly from how his eyes slightly widen. I'm curious about the person who inspired you to do such artistry. His expression softened at my confirmation as he nodded slowly. Oh, I see. I'm flattered you want to know more about us. Well, my wife, she's a feisty, wonderful woman. Despite the way she's born, her uniqueness shines through. She has a delicate nature despite her strong and tall exterior, which is why I don't let her work in the shop, nor help me directly, because I know that she's helping me in her own way. That is much I can say about her. Something in his voice tells me he's not going to say anything more. I see, you seem to treasure her so much. Of course I do. She's my everything. Following that, the florist turned and leaned to the opposite side of the counter where he began tidying up. You seem to be showing quite the interest, wouldn't you say? Well, yes, about you and your wife. He continued to arrange items, his fingers briefly touching an old photograph resting nearby. I'm flattered. Not many are willing to learn. Aww, this is cute though. I do want to know more about his wife though. Me and my beloved's life. His eyes held an affectionate look as he whispered softly, speaking of his wife. My beautiful wife. She's a fragile soul born into circumstances that set her apart from the norm. What? I leaned in, curiosity piqued by the topic. Circumstances? What do you mean? Her birth sets her apart from others. His fingers gently brush against the photograph, an image of a sunflower garden bathed in a warm nostalgic light. Yet she is still a living embodiment of beauty, rising from adversity. I met her in a garden back when I was much younger. His affectionate gaze lingered on the photograph, caressing the petals captured within the frame as if reaching across time. I see. Such a beautiful photo of the sunflower garden, almost like straight from a fairy tale. Long before I met her, they were my solace. Tending after flowers becomes a comfort to me. And of course, the people around me, they call me strange. Some even laughed at my affinity for flowers. But my wife, when I met her, it was like the flowers finally had a voice. She helped me find solace in who I am and a purpose in life. He placed the photograph back in its place, and for a moment silence hung in the air, laden with an unspoken sentiment. His gaze lingered on the photo, lost in a world of memories. It sounds like she had a profound impact on your life. Indeed, in more ways than I can express. Your wife, how has she influenced your life now? In many ways, truly, she is my whole world. Her presence, even in her current state, inspires me to create the most exquisite arrangements. My wife has brought both joy and challenges to my life. You see, she's no ordinary woman. She craves for something quite different. And I made it my mission to provide for her to ensure her happiness. I've had to make certain sacrifices in doing so. The people that knew, they often tell me to stop. But I never want to. It's her, after all. Oh god, she's my beloved wife and I'll do whatever it takes to keep her content. I can see that. In the recesses of my thoughts, I find myself considering a few things. I'm really curious about this whole thing. I have an urge to learn more, but there's a lingering doubt about whether I should. He remains silent as he continues to tidy up. Does he not mind that I'm still here in his shop even though the arrangement is now complete? It's like he's not even acknowledging my presence at all. I cleared my throat gathering my thoughts. Well, that's quite something. But I think I'll have to take my leave now. I wish you and your wife good fortune. I turn around and head towards the door with a bouquet in hand, ready to depart. You see, it's rare to find someone who understands my artistry and my situation. His words caught me off guard and I was taken aback by the depth of his statement. Your situation? He paused, as if considering whether to say more. My wife, someone who's important in my life. Circumstances between me and her are unusual, as my late father liked to put it. I listened intently, my curiosity piqued. You feel like a breath of fresh air to us. If I may be honest, not everyone takes the time to consider my circumstances. I see. Him suddenly speaking so much stopped me from leaving. The florist's words caught me off guard and I wasn't sure how to respond. I'm sure you're aware that people are so quick to judge. Especially nowadays. They like to stick their noses into people's business, even something as personal as relationships. So it's rare to find someone who's genuinely willing to understand my situation. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. Don't be sorry. Humans tend to fear what they don't understand and hate what they can't conquer. It's simply in their nature to do so. That's why meeting someone like you who's open to listening is quite refreshing. A brief silence envelops us, his smile slowly resurfacing while his fingers gently trace the petals of nearby sunflower. As a parting gift, I'd like to offer you something special. His voice was tinged with genuine appreciation. What? I want you to meet her. For a moment I struggled to speak. Meeting his wife, this is unexpected. But why? You've been so open to listening. That's why I believe you deserve to meet someone special like my wife. I feel like you'd be one of the people who would understand her nature. Oh god. Not to mention, I'm sure my wife would like to know such a beautiful soul like you. Although it was unusual, I ended up agreeing. My curiosity surpassing any doubts. Oh god, okay. I don't trust this. Okay. The florist's smile blossomed with my response. Thank you. I don't trust this. I'm scared. Okay. Heading down the stairs again. Is the staff room behind that closed door? Yes, you're correct. So the door behind the counter leads to these stairs. It doesn't directly take us to the staff room. I followed the florist a little further until we both reach a sturdy wooden door. He turned to face me, a faint smile gracing his lips. Here we are. He opened the door to reveal what looks like an underground greenhouse illuminated by a soft red hue. The air was heavy with floral scents, tinged with the same unpleasant smell from when I first entered the shop. He stepped aside and allowed me to step inside first. Wait here for a moment, won't you? I nod slowly. I saw a figure emerge from the shadows. My heart raced in anticipation. I'm scared. Diona, my dear, please look this way for a moment. Diona's appearance was obscured and I couldn't really make out any distinct shape for a moment. As the light illuminated the figure in the dim glow, I could finally perceive its features, even if they could even be called that. What? Oh god. Diona is pretty cute, I guess. I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. The wife he'd been referring to all this time is this thing. The monstrous being emitted a guttural growl, its massive head swaying ominously as its gnarled stem shifted with a creaking sound. What? From its gaping maw, a long and sinuous tongue emerged, dripping with a thick layer of glistening saliva. The sight of it was revolting, as if it was ready to strike any moment. Ignoring my shocked reaction, the florist displayed an unusual fondness for his wife. Oh god. Oh, I know you're eager, my lovely. Come closer. Damn, someone's a monster fucker. Me too, though. I support this. Come closer. Give me a kiss, will you? As if in response to the florist's tender gesture, the monster reciprocated by licking his cheek with its tongue. Don't worry, my beloved. Our guest is here to stay. I watched in shock as the grotesque creature, referred to as my lovely by the florist, nuzzled against him. He gently withdrew himself from the monster and met my stare. Say hello to my wife. The monster faced me with his eerie, multicolored eyes. Hello. As I expected, she's pleased to meet you. The monster emitted a low growl akin to a purring noise, its form shivering slightly as if responding to the florist's words. This can't be real. The florist tenderly stroked the rough surface of the creature's petal. With each caress, the monster's form withered in anticipation. Yes, I must apologize for my absence earlier. You know, I have to take care of our guests, especially those with excessive curiosity. Huh? Is he talking about me? You see, my lovely here was getting quite impatient with your presence. She has been famished for weeks, and the sound of unfamiliar footsteps was driving her to a frenzy. I found myself connecting the dots in my head. The florist's earlier repeated visits to the staff room, his hurried demeanor, it all made sense now. The monster, his wife, had been starving. Now I understood the reason behind his earlier disappearances. But don't worry, I've taught her well, and you're safe here with me. How can you say that? I don't feel safe at all. My heart raced with unease, realizing the florist's true nature and the monstrous thing he's been referring to as his beloved wife. Would you like to shake her hand? She's always excited to meet new faces. The florist reached towards the creature's petal, almost resembling a hand shifting it in my direction. Okay, yes. I stumbled back, my head pounding, as I continued to grapple with the reality of the situation. Despite so, I fought back everything in me to turn away, instead stepping closer to the monstrous creature before me. As I stepped closer, I could feel the heat emanating from it. Hello, Diona. Nice to meet you. I reached my hand out to caress its large yellow petals. They definitely feel much rougher than the usual sunflower petals, much thicker and stiff. Unlike when the florist touched it, the monster didn't seem to react to my touches as it did with him. While I caress its petals, the florist stands there, remaining close to the monster he calls his wife, watching my every move. Isn't she gorgeous? Yes, she is gorgeous. The florist smiled, nodding slowly. I knew you'd think so. He stepped back and put my hand aside from the monster, as if not wanting me to touch it even more. His grip was firm as he moved my hand away. She's a type of carnivorous sunflower. I can see that. His gaze returned to the creature, displaying fondness for his wife. As I mentioned earlier, I met her in the garden when I was younger, probably when I was about 10 years old. We practically grew up side by side and faced various kinds of challenges together. Back then, Diona was just the size of a normal sunflower. At that point, her diet mostly consisted of small animals. Though, it wasn't until she nibbled on my ring finger that I truly understood her appetite for flesh. Oh, he's missing a finger! I just realized, holy shit! That moment marked the beginning of our bond. Isn't that it? His words took a moment to sink in. My eyes immediately trailed to the florist's hand and realized that one of his ring fingers is missing. There's a metaphorical saying that couples should savor each other's flavors before walking down the aisle. In our case, that saying takes on a rather literal meaning. But don't be alarmed, Diona had her fair share of snacks this evening already. Though I must tell you that she has quite the appetite. He delivered this assurance with a faint smile that only fueled my unease. This couldn't be real. How could he be married to a literal monster? Right, my sunshine? Good God. So I've been like blocking this guy's face the whole time. Hang on, can I move myself down? My wife is incredibly adorable, always getting a tad bashful whenever I speak of her hearty appetite. Can I ask a few questions about her? Of course. Ask away. What kind of snack does she have? I raised an eyebrow, curiosity lacing my words. It was just a little feline. Feline? The way he answered in such a calm tone slightly took me aback. I see. I muttered in response, not wanting to pry any further. The florist and the monster continued with their unsettling display of affection, completely ignoring my presence. Could you repeat that for me, my beloved? But I'm not lying, my sweet. It was merely part of the plan. What plan? What? It's just how things goes. It always has been. What sounded like a displeased growl left the monster's mouth, a hint of discontent evident in the deep rumble that emanated from its throat. My wife, please understand. Be a little more patient for me, okay? I'll spoil you well tonight. I miss spending time with you. Perfect. Me too. My wife said she'd like to eat you. What? I apologize, let me rephrase that. His words hit me like a shockwave. She'd like to get to know you through her taste buds. Yep, this is where I should leave. I dashed towards the door as quickly as possible, but then he was suddenly behind me, his tone soft yet sinister. My wife has been starving for a while now and you seem like the ideal choice. Fear gripped me, realization crashing over me in waves. Don't you think it's impolite to depart when you're being introduced as a guest? I should have known better than to go out of my way to step into a totally not suspicious flower shop that's still apparently open past 11 at night. Let me leave! I tried yanking his wrist once more, attempting to break free and dash upstairs, but a sharp pain suddenly struck my side, causing me to lose my balance. I'm afraid I can't allow that. The florist's shears pierced me. Jesus! My wife would hate knowing that someone like you entered our shop. But you guys said that you liked me. Aww. And didn't get to be part of her feast. The florist approached, stabbing my neck. This is personal, isn't it? I screamed in pain, blood mixing with my coughs. Throughout it all, the florist stared, emotionless eyes fixed on me, holding my wrist before dragging me. Let go of me! I'm in no position to decide that. Please do ask my wife. He held me firmly, dragging me closer to where his wife awaited. Oh no! Get away from me, you wretched weed! The proximity to the repulsive creature made my stomach turn. I could almost feel the heat radiating from its body. Do you think you'll enjoy tonight's meal, my sunshine? If not, I will simply dispose of this slab. I'm not a slab! The monster unhinged its jaw, its tongue slithering out to lick my face. I recoiled in disgust, its hot saliva staining my cheek. My sunshine, I've warned you repeatedly not to do that. It's unbearable to see, as if you were kissing them. What the hell did you just say? I glanced at him with a flurry of emotions behind me, sensing my arms and legs being bound tightly. Now I must prepare you for her meal. The monster growled again, seemingly reacting to the florist's words, lowering its head before glaring at us. Oh, I was just a little jealous, but I'm not upset with you, my dear. You sick fuck. The florist rose and walked ahead of me, caressing the monster's stem as it leaned into its touch. While I struggled, I caught a sickening smell nearby, the same unpleasant scent from earlier assaulting my senses. Don't worry, my sunshine. I'll chop it up for you. Huh? After a moment, both the florist and the monster ceased their affectionate gestures to turn their attention to me. He harshly yanked me and dragged me to another room, awash in dim blue light. The unpleasant smell intensified as we inched closer to our destination. I realized this was one of the rooms the staff door led to. Let me go! Keep your mouth shut and I'll make it easier for you. He turned around and left to retrieve some items from a tall cabinet. The florist retrieved huge gardening shears. Suddenly the foul smell intensified, assaulting my senses. As he turned one of the lights, I realized the odor emanated from behind the door. He creaked it open slightly, revealing a horrifying sight. A pile of human bodies. Some were covered in dirt, while others were soaked in blood. Instinctively, I attempted to flee, only to be reminded of my restrained limbs. Damn! The fresher the meat, the better the taste. He's ready to lunge at me. In a desperate attempt, I tried to summon all the strength I could muster and aimed a swift kick at the florist. But he moved faster than I expected, effortlessly sidestepping my kick with a flat expression. Oh, I suck. Impressive effort, but I'd advise against resisting. It's unfortunate that it has to come to this. His words were spoken with an unsettling calmness. Before I could react, he swiftly grabbed my tired legs and wrists. The impact against the floor left me disoriented and in pain. He stood over me, his shears glinting menacingly in the dim light. I wish he would have cooperated willingly. He tugged me once more, positioning me directly in front of the monster. Now, this'll be quick. No, my wife? The monster responded with a growl, turning its head towards the florist. Each time he talks to that creature, his voice takes on a softer, affectionate tone. I hate to ask, but could you assist me, my dear? It's not cooperating very well. The monster let out another growl, even louder this time. It craned its neck downwards and extended its tongue in my direction. Ah, are you eager to devour it immediately? I understand. Can someone give me some weed killer? However, I'm just concerned that you might choke again like last time. So I couldn't let you devour it right away. But you're allowed to help. You're very lovely, my sunshine. Now be still, will you? The monster turned to look at me and leaned close to my face. Instinctively, I flinched and tried to avoid it. What is it trying to do? I told you earlier. Oh god. Oh, the bone sounds! The pain feels unbearable as I feel the monster chewing on the lower half of my body. Ah, delicious, isn't it? You seem to be quite enjoying it, my beloved. I'm relieved to see. Thank you for your contribution. Ending, Diona, his sunflower. Like sunflowers to the sun, the curious heart beckoned towards the light, yet your fate took its winding bend. Did you dare to pluck the flower of truth at the cost of your own petals? God damn it! Alright, let's try again and get the other ending. Alright, this time I was not curious. I did not ask about his wife. I didn't flirt with him. Now we're just gonna leave. Yes, that's all. I should get going. How much is this? Then, everything will be whatever that is. Okay. With a hushed sigh, I took out my wallet and offered him the payment for his service. He took the money and swiftly processed the payment. Here's the change. I gave a nod and extended my hand to accept the change. Thank you, and also for the arrangement. Thank you for choosing Diona's flower shop. We hope to see you again soon. Thanks as well. I pick up the bouquet from the counter, turning around to walk towards the door. Despite the unease, I managed to politely bid my farewell and turn to leave. As I distanced myself from the shop, the unsettling scent slowly faded, and the surroundings became more familiar and comforting. I made it out alive! Gradually, my heart rate began to return to normal. A feeling of relief washed over me, knowing I had escaped whatever strange ambience that flower shop held. Ending, Lily of the Valley. Amidst the shadows and fragrant blooms, a discerning heart chose caution's tune. A fleeting scent or whispered spell led one to escape where shadows dwell. Sometimes, it's best to trust your instincts and not let your guard down. A simple choice to walk away can save you from a fate that's better left unexplored, right? Woohoo! I think there's one more. Alright, let's try and get the last one. Alright, this time we didn't ask about his wife, didn't flirt, but we're gonna stay at the shop. We'll ask about him. Pardon? He looks genuinely surprised at my question, clearly from how his eyes slightly widened. The florist fell silent for a moment, seemingly thinking for an answer, or at a loss for words. He sets down the scissors he was holding, walking over to the counter and takes a step closer to me. What exactly would you like to know about me then? He suddenly turned around and our eyes met, though before that, if I may say something, what leads you to talk with me like this, given my marital status? I'm aware of that status, handsome, yet you choose not to care. This time I'll pick the ellipses. I bring myself to say something. The florist lets out a quiet laugh, shaking his head. His voice took on a softer tone as he continued. My. With a gentle sigh, he looked up to meet my gaze. You remind me of a self-proclaimed detective that once came to visit me in hopes of satiating their curiosity. Needless to say, I had no secrets to tell, so they left with nothing. Following that, the florist turned and headed to the opposite side of the counter where he began tidying up. Well then, I should prepare for closing now. If there's nothing else you need, perhaps it's time for you to be on your way too. The florist's usual soft tone was both polite and firm. I'm past the usual closing time. Oh, I don't want to keep you. It's quite alright. I appreciate your interest in the shop. If you ever need flowers in the future, don't hesitate to drop by. Thank you for choosing Diona's flower shop. We'll see you again soon. Holding the bouquet of flowers, I nodded while taking a last glance around the shop. Thanks as well. As I distanced myself from the shop, the unsettling scent slowly faded. The surroundings became more familiar and comforting. There's a faint inkling that I've forgotten something, and it's bothering me. What could it be? Did I leave something at the shop? No, I don't think I left anything. Thank you for choosing Diona's flower shop. We will see you again soon. Oh god, I didn't even catch that. Wait, ending? Question mark. The florist will find you soon. Aw man, I don't want it to find me. Anyway, this was Diona's flower shop. This was a really cool story to play. I kind of wish there was an ending where we could have killed the plant. Is that really mean to say? I feel like that's really mean. I wish there was an ending where we could have fought the plant and killed it and he went berserk or something. I feel like that would have been really cool to see. But yeah, this is a neat little adventure. It's made by the same creator of the person who made Klein, which is another Yandere dating sim. So if you guys loved Klein and want to check this one out, the link is in the description box below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Thank you so much for spending time with me and watching this video. I really appreciate it. But yeah, what's your favorite flower? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear it. And until next time, take care.